Meeting to order. City of Palm Coast City Council meeting. It is Tuesday, November 7, 2017. It is 6 p.m. Please join me in the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Clufus.
Present.
Councilmember Shipley.
Yeah.
Mayor, all members are present.
Right. We'll now open it up to the public for public participation. Any member of the public can speak on items not on the agenda. You have up to 3 minutes. Please state your name for the record, and your 3 minutes will begin.
Charles Ebert, Palm Coast Hidden Lakes. I'd like to add to your workshop, since I wasn't able to attend the workshop that you had last, and I hate to bring up my favorite subject there, Mayor and City Councilman, about Waste Pro. I said, we know that there's a contract, and we know there's fines and damages to be assessed. And my issue was back with about skid marks and so forth, and I never got resolution other than they did come out and try to clean them up somewhat. But now that we've been through 2 hurricanes, and each event of those hurricanes, we did not have at least 1 month of yard waste pickup during that time. And that's time that we paid as taxpayers and residents under our water bill and so forth to have that service done. Now, I know this issue just came up because of the fact that the recent hurricane and the problems that you have. The biggest problem I have is the fact that reading the article that was in the Observer, and under the sections of the B section, L section, and all those other sections, Cinnamon Woods, Woodlands, and so forth, it never mentions Texarkana or Hidden Lakes. Now, Hurricane Matthew, we barely got 1 release to come in there and take care of it. And we'd already cleaned it all up, and all they did is make a bigger mess than we already had. Now, we have a contract. The contract states there is fines and damages. Now, I don't know who enforces it, if the code enforcement, Ms. Grossman, or our city mayor or whatever, and so forth, but everyone is saying, well, give them time. All we want to do is have them be in compliance. Well, you know what? They're not going to be in compliance. They just entered this contract. This is a brand new contract this year. And for them to start off doing what they're doing now is deplorable. And I'd like to get action. And the only time companies and that kind of corporation, the only thing they really understand is their bottom line. And their bottom line needs to be taken care of because the contract states that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker.
Good evening. Terrence Freeman, 800 West Monroe Street, Jacksonville, Florida. To the mayor, council members, thank you so much for your time. I work for Y-Green Energy Fund, and we're one of the 4 PACE providers in the state. PACE stands for Property Assessed Clean Energy. I'm one of the area managers, just came on board, and so I'm getting around to the different committees and council members and meetings to introduce myself, and to share a little bit more about PACE if you're not familiar with it. The PACE program provides low-cost, long-term financing to private property owners for energy efficiency, renewable energy, and hurricane protection upgrades. Examples of this would be seawalls, impact windows, storm shutters, built-in generators, and HVAC systems or solar. The benefits of activating PACE in your community: helps create jobs, increases economic investment, it reduces energy costs and insurance premiums for property owners, makes properties more valuable. In the region currently, we're active in Alachua County and Green Cove. There is great conversation taking place in Clay. as well as Nassau and Duval. We've started the conversations there as well. So really looking forward to seeing this opportunity continue to grow. Some numbers in closing: over 12,000 properties to date by Y-Green, our company, have benefited from using PACE program, totaling over $250 million of energy efficiency and hurricane protections. We've certified over 1,300 contractors and created or sustained over 4,000 jobs. So in closing, by providing PACE, you can achieve the benefits of economic development, job creation, and reaching your policy goals without additional administrative, legal, or financial responsibilities. This means that a participating local government, we can offer PACE to your residents at absolutely no cost or liability to the government. And this is done through an interlocal agreement. You currently have an agreement with the provider, an exclusive one. And one of the things that I'm doing as well is going to the different counties that have that existing relationship and asking if they would be willing to open it up for the 3 other providers. We have a track record, and I will gladly share information with you of projects that we've done in our state and how much money and investments we've put back into the community, and would love to be able to do it here. Thank you for your time and look forward to meeting with you in the future days. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker. Seeing none, I'll close public comment. We'll take it now to approval of the minutes. Agenda item number E1, minutes of the City Council. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, passes unanimously. We'll now move to agenda item F, proclamations and presentations. 2, proclamation declaring November 15, 2017 as America Recycles Day. Councilmember Cuff will be presenting this proclamation. I'd ask anyone that's here to receive the proclamation to please come forward to the podium.
But while they're doing that, Denise is actually the team leader of our green team, and and Don is on the team too, and Tom has been very helpful lately. So the green team members are the ones receiving the proclamation.
Frank?
Whereas the City of Palm Coast recognizes the importance of protecting and preserving our natural resources and continually works to bring a high quality of life to our citizens by adopting conscientious living habits that improve our daily lives and bring about a cleaner, safer, and healthier sustainable environment. And whereas to focus attention on the importance of recycling and recycling correctly, businesses, industries, government agencies, nonprofit organizations, and individuals have joined together to celebrate America Recycles Day and are encouraging employers, staff, customers, members, and all citizens to pledge to buy more recycled content products starting on November 15th. And whereas participating in America Recycles Day on November 15th, 2017 is one way citizens can help raise awareness about the need to reduce waste by reusing, recycling, and buying recycled products. And whereas in the last 10 years, the households that receive waste services from the City of Palm Coast have recycled over 45,000 tons of waste, the same weight as the Titanic. And whereas, although there has been a significant increase in Palm Coast today, we must continue to focus on the importance of recycle often and recycle right to minimize contamination of recycling by keeping food, liquids, and plastic bags out of recycling. And now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the City of Palm Coast Mayor and City Council that November 15th, 2017 is hereby proclaimed to be America Recycles Day. Signed November 7th, 2017, Mayor Melissa Holland.
On behalf of the Green Team, thank you for the proclamation tonight. And in the spirit of the proclamation and encouraging recycling, I would encourage all of our visitors tonight to take with them a reusable shopping bag, and then also take this pamphlet to really give a little bit of information about recycling here in Palm Coast. Again, thank you, Council. Thank you.
Thank you.
don't know what to do. Coming down? They're coming up.
Oh, we're going.
Jason, Cindy would have this already all figured out and everything. Come on.
I'm hitting a lot of buttons in there.
I bet he does.
I know that's perfect right here.
On three. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And one more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Super.
I forgot to have a respond to public comment.
Sure, absolutely.
Sorry, Council, I forgot to actually address the public comments that were spoken at the beginning of the meeting, so I'd like to do that in advance of us moving on to the next proclamation. To Mr. Ebert's comments about Waste Pro, with both hurricanes, 1 month of hurricanes without pickup, Toscana and Hidden Lakes not being addressed, and then enforcement and who enforces the contract and where we stand with it today.
Well, first of all, there's a misunderstanding out there that Waste Pro was not picking anything up right after the storm. Quite the opposite. They were picking up more than they normally do. It's just that we actually contracted with them unexpectedly to help us with storm debris pickup because the national companies who we have a contract with were busy elsewhere and said, we'll see you in a few weeks. So we went to Waste Pro and said, we have crews that can get started, but do you have some crews that can also get started and focus as much as we could on the storm debris pickup, which means they weren't doing the regular Wednesday yard debris pickup, but they were out there picking up more than normal, but obviously not being able to hit every neighborhood. So the perception that they aren't coming around was strictly a result of storm debris. And we actually owe them a thanks for trying to help with storm debris pickup because, once again, we had no contract with them to do that at all. The issue, though, is once we got the national haulers in here and we started getting into regular pickup, then it was a matter of them getting back on schedule and not missing. And this is where we've had some issues with them here lately. They are going to announce additional trucks and crews. I'm not sure exactly how many at this point because they realize they are not getting it done in a timely fashion. So they are going to address those. As far as one neighborhood versus the other, every neighborhood out there thought they were the last neighborhood, and it wasn't the case at all. I'd like to give really good news is as of today, we finished our first round of storm debris pickup. So are we finished? No, because as you all know, as we were picking up one street and moving on to the next, then there were still people who had not cleaned up their storm debris and they were putting it out there. So for a storm of this magnitude, you always do two passes, and we will start the second pass tomorrow. And we've started chipping. If you've ever drive by US 1, once again, where we store most of it, it's a huge pile. We've started that process. So it's come along quite nicely. And we have today told Waste Pro that they are to go back to regular schedule for all services, including regular yard debris, as regular schedule. They will not pick up large piles. They will only pick up those piles that are within their limit. And then our second pass for storm debris crews will come around and pick up the large piles. And that will all be coordinated through actually code enforcement because they're out there and they know where they are, and so they report where the large piles are. So that's where we are. We're in that second phase or second pass. And this is The storm debris pickup is not a Waste Pro pickup at all. They're not our contractor for that, so that's kind of the misperception. Hopefully that addresses those issues.
And Mr. Freeman, I'm very well aware of the PACE program. It started, actually, I think former Commissioner Barbara Revels served on that board when it started when I was on the county commission. So I don't know where we are as far as an interlocal agreement.
Well, I think it's a county program, and the county has it for the entire county. I know a few years ago, we looked at it. Denise Bevan was our point. I don't think it's, I think you can have it countywide and not each individual city, but it's been a while since we've had that discussion. I'd be happy to get Denise hooked up with our guests and see if there's something we can do more for the community, because if we can help people make those kind of improvements, that's a good thing.
Okay, so Mr. Freeman, please give your information to Ms. Bevan before you leave tonight. Okay, we'll now move to agenda item number 3, which is a proclamation designating November 17, 2017 as World Diabetes Day. Councilmember Clufus will be presenting this. I would ask all receivers of this proclamation to please step forward to the podium.
All right, Mayor, Council. Whereas the American Diabetes Association estimates that nearly 30 million people in the United States are afflicted with or affected by diabetes, and another 86 million are still at risk for developing type 2 of the disease over the next decade. And whereas having diabetes elevates the risk of heart disease, amputation, kidney failure, and blindness, causing serious hardship for families across not only our city, but also our county, state, and nation. Whereas the American Diabetes Association has established November 14th, 2017 as World Diabetes Day to educate citizens on ways to predict if someone is at risk of the disease, and to help recognize the symptoms of diabetes and to follow suggestions for living a quality lifestyle while they endure the infliction. And whereas the City of Palm Coast and Florida Hospital Flagler together recognize that the growing number of diabetics in our own community and across America make a strong case for devoting more of our resources to help find a cure. Whereas Flagler Schools, in coordination with Florida Hospital Flagler, have established the Morning Mile program, encouraging students to walk or run before school, and the future problem solvers of Bunnell Elementary will be focused on educating students both type 1 and type 2 diabetes. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Palm Coast Mayor and the City Council declare November 14th, 2017 as World Diabetes Day in Palm Coast, and urge all residents and their families who struggle with the consequences of diabetes to choose to live their own quality of life and not have diabetes live it for them. Signed this 7th day of November 2017, City of Palm Coast, Florida, Mayor Melissa Holland.
Thank you, Nick. My name is Tony Papandrea, and I am the chairman of the Florida Hospital Flagler Foundation. And on behalf of Florida Hospital Flagler and the foundation, I am so pleased to accept this proclamation. And this is our second year doing this, and for the continuing partnership that we have with the city to increase the awareness of this dreadful, terrible disease. So I'm going to hold my remarks to a very minimum. And I will tell you that Jack, Khalil, and Stanley can do this much, much better than I. So, Jack?
Great.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jack Gilberry, and this is Stanley Gadzik, as well as Khalil Robinson, Zachary Bennett, Jordan Shutter. And sadly, our coaches, Mrs. Bennett and Mrs. Berry, could not make it tonight. We are very excited to present our project to you.
Did you know that over 29 million people have diabetes, or that over 70% of these cases are preventable? We are part of the Bunnell Elementary School Problem Solvers, and our group will be focusing on providing diabetic screenings and education to Flagler County citizens so that people have a better chance of avoiding this disease.
This disease personally affects me because my father has been a type 1 diabetic since the age of 14, and I always worry that I could be coming home to a house without a dad. It is really scary to see our 6'4" dad go from being very active to a state of drowsiness in a second due to his blood sugar running low.
Diabetes currently plays a big role in my grandmother's life. She was first diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, but 3 years ago was officially diagnosed as type 1. On the other side is my grandpa, who is a type 2 diabetic but has lost 165 pounds. Due to this change, he is no longer insulin dependent, and his loss of weight has changed his life and health forever.
My family has also been affected by diabetes. My grandmother has been a type 2 diabetic for some time. Her blood sugar sometimes reaches up to the 200s. Multiple times she has passed out and been hospitalized because of this disease.
Diabetes is a deadly disease that affects millions of people. Working to provide screenings and education to citizens will help to prevent the disease throughout Flagler County. Thank you for your support in helping us to succeed in our community.
Thank you.
When we start that young with awareness, can you imagine when he gets to be 28 years old? Amazing. Next, I'd like to have Laura Gilveri step up and say a few words. Laura is a member of the foundation board, and she's the mom of Jack, so there you go.
Not all of them, just to clarify.
That's what I said, just Jack.
So we appreciate the opportunity to be up in front of you again this year. I know many of you have heard me speak before. It is certainly close to our heart and in our home, but we feel a great passion for making sure that the Emergency Services Department decreases 75% of their calls, which we understand now is a statistic. 75% of their calls are related to diabetes in our community. So if we can be proactive in managing this disease, as many people do have the capacity to do so, and we can get ahead of it, we think that we could obviously save a lot of money, but lives as well. We would, graciously challenge the city of Palm Coast to go blue. That is the signature color for World Diabetes Day. So on November 14th, if the city were to consider wearing blue and feeling free to post that on Facebook and tagging in the hospital and Bunnell Future Problem Solvers, what a great team who, obviously this affects probably every single person in this room, if we're honest. If you were to have a show of hands, probably everybody knows somebody who's impacted by diabetes. So thank you for the continued support. I know last year we had kind of challenged the city to light up blue. I don't know if you recall the challenge, but the hospital will be lighting up blue this year, so perhaps next year we can make that initiative go citywide. Thank you so much for your time and support of this initiative.
Thanks, Laura. And in closing, I can give you lots of statistics, but in our community there are 15,000 diabetics. 4,000 do not know they're diagnosed. So those are the people we need to address and create the awareness for them. Where are we going in the future? I vision us having a nurse educator at our hospital, dedicated to our hospital. I envision us having a diabetic wound center that's a standalone that can treat these people. So down the road, if we continue to go forward as we are with these type of proclamations and awareness, we'll get there. So thank you, Melissa. Thank you, City Council, and we appreciate it. Picture. John will bring the flag.
No, we'd like to come off. You want to come on?
Go ahead.
I'll stand in front with the flag and the kids.
We're going to wait.
2, 3. Okay, now to me. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Sounds good. All right, sounds good. Thank you, it is good stuff.
Thank you all. Get tested, go to your primary care.
Okay, we'll now move on to agenda item number F4, which is a proclamation designating November 25th, 2017 as Small Business Saturday. Vice Mayor Nobile will be presenting. I'd ask everyone that's receiving this proclamation to please come up to the podium.
Forgot the process. Oh, it wouldn't have counted.
And I will struggle a little to read this because over the last week or a week and a half, my sugar has been very high because I'm a diabetic, so that's a very important message prior, but this one is just as important. Whereas the city of Palm Coast, Florida celebrates our local small businesses and the contributions they make to our local economy and community. According to the United States Small Business Administration, there are currently 28.8 million small businesses in the United States. They represent 99.7% of all businesses with employees in the United States and are responsible for 63% of net new jobs created over the past 20 years. And whereas small businesses employ 48% of the employees in the private sector in the United States, and whereas on average, 33% of consumers' holiday shopping will be done at small, independently owned retailers and restaurants. And whereas 91% of all consumers believe that supporting the small, independently owned restaurants and bars is important, and whereas 76% of all consumers plan to go to one or more small businesses as part of their holiday shopping, and whereas the City of Palm Coast supports our local businesses that create jobs, boost our local community, and preserve our neighborhoods, and whereas advocacy groups as well as public and private organizations across the country have endorsed the Saturday after Thanksgiving as Small Business Saturday. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Palm Coast Mayor and City Council do hereby declare November 25th, 2017 as Small Business Saturday and urge the residents of our community and communities across the country to support small businesses and merchants on Small Business Saturday and throughout the year. Signed the 7th day of November 2017, City of Palm Coast, Mayor Melissa Holland.
Thank you, Steve. My name is Jorge Gutierrez. I'm the president of Flagler County Chamber of Commerce. It's a pleasure to be here. On behalf of the local business community, thank you for this proclamation. Small Business Saturday is a day to support the local businesses that create jobs, boost the economy, and preserves neighborhoods around the country. Small businesses are critical to the nation's overall economy. Over the past 2 decades, they have created 65% of net new jobs. Their importance to local communities extend even further. Their importance to the local community extends even further. For every $100 spent in locally owned independent stores, $68 return to the community through taxes, payroll, and other expenditures. For years, our chambers have supported this initiative by encouraging residents and members to shop local, just not on Business Saturday, but throughout the year. This is important because when you buy from an independent, locally owned business rather than a nationally owned businesses, significantly more of your money stays in the community and is used to make purchases from other businesses and services providers, continuing strengthening the local economic base. And with that said, thank you again, and I hope you will shop local November 25th and throughout the holiday season. Thank you.
Where are we coming? Where you want to sit? In front?
You can go up.
We can go up?
Sure. Did you take that afterwards?
We're just the pretty. I just don't like standing. Get in the middle.
I'm going to take a couple with this and then a couple with this. So just give me 1 sec. On 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3.
Thanks for what you do, guys. Thanks for what you do. Keep it up.
Thank you. Thank you. So much. Good to Okay, we'll now move to agenda item number G5, an ordinance, it's an ordinance, Mr. Reichman.
Yes, Madam Mayor. The title of this ordinance is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Palm Coast, Florida, providing for the amendment of the official zoning map as established in Section 2.06 of the City of Palm Coast Unified Land Development Code. We're amending the official zoning map for 6.2 acres, more or less, of certain real property described as part of tax parcel ID number 2710304001100010. This property is currently located on the south side of Matanzas Woods Parkway, extending between the new alignment of Beltaire Parkway and the old alignment of Beltaire Parkway, and is more particularly described in the Exhibit A attached to this ordinance. We're rezoning from public, semi-public, or PSP zoning district to neighborhood commercial zoning district, which is also known as COM1. This ordinance provides for conflicts of severability and provides for an effective date. Mayor, Council, this is the second reading of this ordinance, and it's quasi-judicial. So if there have been any ex parte communications on this matter since the first reading, those would be disclosed at this time.
Any councilman?
Nothing.
Mayor, City Council, this is a second reading. You've heard the full presentation at your last business meeting. There's been nothing new. It is a rezoning there on Matanzas Woods between Beltaire and Old Beltaire from public, semi-public to commercial. So we believe it's ready for final action. Staff and Planning Board both are recommending approval.
Any questions or discussions before I open up to the public? Seeing none, I'll open this to the public. Any member of the public wish to make public comment on agenda item number G5, please do so at this time. Seeing none, I'll close public comment. I'll take it back to this council and entertain a motion.
Move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, it passes unanimously. Agenda item number H6, Mr. Reichman.
Yes, Mayor. This legislative matter, the title is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Palm Coast, Florida, amending Chapter 2, Administration, Article Roman numeral 6, Retirement, Division 2, Volunteer Firefighter Retirement System and Trust Fund. This ordinance amends Section 2549, which is supplemental benefit, provides for severability for codification for conflicts, and provides for an effective date.
Mayor, City Council, this is a housekeeping item. In addition to our paid career firefighters, we have a very strong volunteer firefighting force. One of the benefits we provide them is a retirement program that's paid for out of state insurance funds. This is a fully funded retirement program. Every year we take a look at it and make sure that we have enough funds to do so. And then any excess funds, we have a share program for those that are active, share in the excess funds for the retirement program. In this case, we've been advised that in order to keep it fully funded, we needed to change the policy via this ordinance to add at least $200,000 to the program, minimum $200,000 to the program. And so that is what this is accomplishing, up from about $144,000. Once again, it doesn't have any impact on our budget. These funds are state funds, but we do have the responsibility of making sure that it stays fully funded, and that is accomplished by this action.
Council, any questions or discussions? All right, open up to the public. Any member of the public wish to make public comment on agenda item number H6, please do so at this time. Seeing none, I'll close public comment. I'll take it back to this council, entertain a motion.
Move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, it passes unanimously. Agenda item number H7, Mr. Reichman.
Yes, Mayor, Council. The title of this ordinance is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Palm Coast, Florida, providing for the amendment of the official zoning map as established in Section 2.06 of the City of Palm Coast Unified Land Development Code. It's amending the official zoning map for 11.33 acres, more or less, of certain real property, described as part of tax parcel identification number 3912-3140-0101-0056. It is generally located on the east side of Old Kings Road, approximately 1/3 mile north of State Road 100, or Moody Boulevard, and more particularly described in the attached Exhibit A to the ordinance. The rezoning is from high-intensity commercial, or COM3 zoning district, to multifamily residential, or MFR2 zoning district. This ordinance provides for conflicts for severability and provides for an effective date. Mayor, Council, this is the first reading, and this matter is quasi-judicial. So if there have been any ex parte communications on this matter that have been received prior to tonight, those should be disclosed at this time.
Council? No. Seeing none, Mr. Landon.
Mayor, City Council, this is indicative of more and more development activity as we're seeing in growth. And, you know, one of the, all the numbers show us that one of the type of residential units we don't have enough of, that we're very short in this community, is multifamily. So that's why you're starting to see these applications. This case, it's actually from commercial to multifamily in a commercial area. So Bill will give you all the details on this application. Bill, take it from here.
I'm Bill Hoover with the Planning Division of Community Development. This site is 11.33 acres located on the east side of Old Kings Road. It's about a 1/3 mile north of State Route 100, and it's shown in the yellow towards the bottom of the screen there. The site's also about a mile and a half south of the Hidden Lakes Drive in the Hidden Lakes subdivision that's to the top center part of the screen there. There's Hidden Lakes, and the subject property is down here. The Kings Point commercial subdivision is about 37 acres. It's located to the south of the subject property. It includes the big lake there with the Kings Point commercial name in it. There's about 8 lots on the east side of Old Kings, 4 or 5 on the south side of the lake, and then there's also some land possibly for like a hotel or motel on the east side of the lake. Florida Pioneer Limited Liability Corporation owns the subject property, 21 acres to the north, and also about 15 acres across Old Kings to the southwest. They want to rezone this property from COM3 or high-intensity commercial to multifamily residential 2 and sell the land to a third party. The subject property, as well as all the property adjacent to it, is zoned mixed use on the future land use element. And in this mixed use designation, it allows all SFR, MFR, office and commercial zoning districts to be located there. So you can see it's a full mixed use. And specifically, it states that general retail, offices, and professional services with a blending of residential and institutional uses are permitted. The map on the left is our current zoning map, and you can see it's the COM3s to the north, goes all the way up, including the Walmart site. It's across the Old Kings Road, and it's also up to the south at Kings Point Commercial.
To the east and northeast in the blue area, that's the Tuscany Village DRI. And nearby the property, there's a very large preserve area. So there's whatever develops there, they're probably never going to know what gets developed on this site because that preserve area is about 169 acres on the DRI. In the COM3 zoning, on the left side of the screen, you can see some of the uses that are already allowed there. So you have things like car dealerships, heavy equipment rental yards, home improvement stores, LP gas dealerships with bulk storage, 4-story hotel. With the MFR2 zoning district, you basically get 3 land uses that you can probably expect: condos, townhouses, or apartments. The density's up to 12 units per acre on land that ends up being designated uplands. In this case, most of the land appears to be uplands. And then 3 units per acre on preserved wetlands. So if all 11.33 acres were considered uplands, then there'd be a maximum of 136 dwelling units that could be constructed.
Question, Bill.
The
Bill,
applicant,
I got a question. Sorry. Can you go back one slide? That number for the units and the acres, that doesn't include parking, it's just a formula? So if there's 11 acres, you can have 136 acres?
right, so
Units, I'm sorry.
right, so what you would expect, 12 units per acre is pretty common for a condo or apartment complex out there across the state. It usually will give you 2 or 3-story buildings, and you'll have a stormwater lake with that, as well as any wetland or preserve areas, the parking, and then there's the one thing, when you get to 100 multifamily units, usually if it's apartments, you get a professional management team that usually, one of them usually will live on site, and then you also have recreational facilities for the residents.
Mr. Nobile, the calculation is gross acres.
Includes everything.
It's just the gross acres, and if it's wetlands, it's a smaller 3 units,
Right.
and if it's
But that
upland.
includes, like you said, that
Yep.
includes everything. That says, this is how much per
This is
unit,
how many
per
units you
parking,
can-
and blah, blah, blah.
How many units you can have on the gross acre, but you have to fit in all those other things. So-
Things was within there.
Right.
Super. Thank you.
The applicant notified the neighbors that were located within 300 feet of the project by U.S. mail on October 3rd. The neighborhood information meeting was held on October 12th at 5:30 p.m. in the council workshop located behind me. And no one from the public attended this neighborhood meeting. However, we did get calls from 2 neighbors who live nearby the Hidden Lakes subdivision. They basically asked questions about the project. We welcomed them to attend the planning board. Staff is required by the Land Development Code to review all rezoning and development order petitions with the 5 criteria shown. It must not be in conflict with public interest, needs to be consistent with the Land Development Code and comprehensive plan, must not impose a significant liability or hardship on the city, must not create an unreasonable hazard or nuisance, and must comply with all applicable governmental standards. Staff analyzed this, and in our opinion, the MFR2 is compatible and would be compatible with neighboring properties and the comprehensive plan. The MFR2 is also consistent with its mixed-use designation on the future land use map. Old Kings Road, adjacent to the site, is 4-lane with sufficient capacity to serve the project, and additionally, water and sewer are nearby and available to serve the site. Some of the other things that came out of our analysis was that the project will have a full access onto Old Kings Road, and it would be at the very north portion of the Kings Point commercial subdivision. And this shared access also will allow future residents to not only have lake views onto the lake, but will also allow residents to drive on these frontage roads clear around there without having to get onto Old Kings Road or State Route 100. Additionally, at the very corner of Old Kings Road and State Route 100, a site plan came in for a racetrack convenience store with 18 gas pumps. It's probably going to be designed very similar to the one on State Route 100 over at Seminole Woods. And so that's probably going to be approved here within the next 45 to 60 days. It commenced construction at that time. The multifamily project would likely encourage more commercial activity also at Kings Point Commercial, which has been sitting there for about 8 years waiting for development, as well as encourage future commercial in nearby areas. 5 residents from or nearby the Hidden Lakes subdivision spoke against this project at the planning board with a couple key concerns. One of those was they weren't receiving a site plan showing all the buildings laying out. Another one was, I think, the unknown, and one of the most important issues that was brought up time and again was traffic issues. Per the Old Kings Road widening development agreement with the City Council back in spring of 2008, this development agreement between the property owners along there realigned Old Kings Road for the Walmart site, but it also gave this property as traffic concurrency for a floor area ratio of 20% of its high-intensity commercial. So generally on traffic studies, if you don't know what's going in on the commercial site, we just use shopping center. So